Self refers to the super self and the individual self, Supreme Personality of Godhead and living entity. When, however, one becomes more interested in the body and bodily sense gratification, he creates for himself obstructions in the path of self-realization. By the influence of Maya, one becomes more interested in sense gratification, which is prohibited in this world for those interested in self-realization. Instead of becoming interested in sense gratification, one should divert his activities to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Soul. Anything performed contrary to this principle is certainly against one's self-interest. In verse 33, Archandiyartabhi Dhyanam Sarvartha Patnavorinam Pramshito Jnana Vijnanat Yena Vishati Mukhitam. Translation. For human society, constantly thinking of how to earn money and apply it for sense gratification brings about the destruction of everyone's interests. When one becomes devoid of knowledge and devotional service, he enters into species of life like those of trees and stones. Purport. Jnana, or knowledge, means to understand one's constitutional position, and vijnana refers to practical application of that knowledge in life. In the human form of life, one can come to the position of jnana and vijnana, but despite this great opportunity, if one does not develop knowledge and practical application of knowledge through the help of a spiritual master and the Shastras, in other words, if one misuses this opportunity, then in the next life he is sure to be born in a species of non-moving living entities. Non-moving living entities include hills, mountains, trees, plants, etc. This stage of life is called punyatam, or mukyatam, namely making all activities zero. Philosophers who support stopping all activities are called shunyavadi. By nature's own way, our activities are to be gradually diverted to devotional service. But there are philosophers who, instead of purifying their activities, try to make everything zero or void of all activities. This lack of activity is represented by the trees and hills. This is a kind of punishment inflicted by the laws of nature. If we do not properly execute our mission of life in self-realization, nature's punishment will render us inactive by putting us in the form of trees and hills. Therefore, activities directed towards sense gratification are condemned herein. One who is constantly thinking of activities to earn money and gratify the senses is following a path which is suicidal. Factually, all human society is following this path. Some way or other, people are determined to earn money or get money by begging, borrowing, or stealing, and applying that for sense gratification. Such a civilization is the greatest obstacle in the path of self-realization. Mukam karoti vachalam angam lankate giri yakikarnam mande shri gurum tinatarinam Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanam Sharasharakaya Chakshuminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So these verses are urging us not to engage in sense gratification, but to follow the path of devotional service, which will lead us to self-realization. There's two obstacles, two witches of Maya. That is bhukti and mukti. So one which is bhukti, that means we want to enjoy, and this is the strongest obstruction to our self-interest. Here it says, there is no stronger obstruction to one's self-interest than thinking other subject matters more pleasing than one's self-realization. And so, again, on the level of intelligence and mind, we start thinking about sense gratification and we start planning about it. So there's jnana. There's first it's in the subtle, then it goes into the gross. So same thing with the mukti, the stage of life called mukyatam, punyatam, or making all activity zero, shunyavadi, making everything void. This is also a witch that would take us away from our actual self-realization. And if you follow this, these two paths of bhukti and mukti, or sense gratification and liberation, or nullification, two opposite sides of the coin, if you follow these two paths, what will be the result? This verse says you can become a tree, a stone, a mountain. Not a very good progress in life. You go down instead of up, and then you have to go through so many species of life before you can become a human being again. So, therefore, what should we do? We don't want to become trees, stones, and mountains. We don't want to follow these two paths of bhukti and mukti. So therefore, Prabhupada gives us in the purport, instead of becoming interested in sense gratification, one should divert his activities to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Soul. And that again, we have to execute properly our mission in human form of life. Here we must, in the human form of life, one should come to the position of jnana and vijnana, theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge, through the help of Guru and Shastra. And if we don't do that, then we become non-moving living entities, like plants. It looks beautiful out there, but you wouldn't want to be one of those trees in the winter with all the snow covering you, or in the rain or in the sun. You have to suffer. You couldn't even do it for 2 hours. Of course, in the past, great devotees did stand, and even great demons stood for hundreds of years in the sun and the rain doing austerities, but we don't have the bodies for that. We couldn't even stand 2 hours on one foot with our hands up in the air trying to get some benediction. So, no, we have to do the process of devotional service. So Bhagavad Gita in the purport, Prabhupada says one can attain Krishna consciousness in a second, in one moment, or may not attain it within so many millions of births. It is only a matter of understanding and accepting the fact. So what does it mean to understand and accept the fact? What is that fact? That is, the fact is Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we are His servant. That is the fact. So understanding gives the idea of a theoretical. We may theoretically understand Krishna is God. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if we actually accept the fact Krishna is God and I am His servant, then we will do something. We will act. Sambandha, there is theoretical knowledge, then there is realized knowledge. And realized knowledge, applied knowledge, comes when we actually act in devotional service for Krishna. Sambandha, avideya, and then prayojan. We will get the result, a quite different result from being born as a tree or a mountain or a plant. We will become one of the eternal servants of Krishna in the spiritual world and have eternity, bliss, and knowledge in our eternal spiritual identity. So, Bhagavad Gita in chapter 4, verse 9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vitatataha, that anyone who understands, Krishna says, my birth and my activities, he, at the end of giving up this life, giving up his body, he will go to my supreme plan. Chakta deyam punar janma naiti mamiti, he will come to me. And me means Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. He will not come back here again. So we have to understand Krishna this is what we have to understand, his birth and activities. And we have to accept that I'm a devotee. We have to be in the service attitude. So how to accept Krishna? Srila Prabhupada has encouraged us that we should chant the holy name like a child crying for its mother. Mother Hara is one of his earliest lectures on the holy name. Mother Hara will help us to reach the Supreme Father, Hari, or Krishna. So when a child crying for its mother, so who is our mother? Radharani, Hara. We cry for our mother, and our mother picks us up, and she gives us to the Father, Krishna. So we need the mercy of the mother, Radharani, to go to Krishna. So therefore we chant Hare Krishna, please accept me, please pick me up. And Srila Prabhupada has said in a lecture that if we chant very nicely Hare Krishna mantra, then Krishna will come and he will say, please accept me, please accept me. And that is the purpose of our life, to accept Krishna and go back to Krishna. So how to increase our attachment to Krishna? There is one nice purport. Of course, it is pretty much the same in all the purports, but one purport, Prabhupada gives us the different steps of the process of devotional service. And he says you should see the deity every day in the temple. You should make offerings by worshipping the deity. You should chant the holy name, and you should preach. And if you do these 4 things, you'll become attached to Krishna. So we need to become attached because that is our process. We need prayojan, we need love of Krishna. So therefore we have a process how to become attached to Krishna. This is the Pancharatriki and the Bhagavat Marg combined. That chanting is part of the Bhagavat Marg and deity worship is part of the Pancharatriki Marg, or the path of deity worship. So in Bhagavatam there is a verse that Kirtanam yat smaranam yadikshanam yavandanam yat shavanam yadarhanam lokasa sadya vitunoti kirvisham dasai sumatra shamase namo namaha. So this is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami in his prayers for empowerment to speak Bhagavatam. So what did he say? He said, let me offer my respectful obeisances to the all-auspicious Krishna, about whom glorification, remembrance, audience, prayers, hearing, and worship can at once cleanse the effects of all sins of the performer. So kirtanam, smaranam, those are things that we always hear, shavanam, kirtanam, smaranam, chanting, hearing, remembering. But here's a new one, ikshanam, seeing the deity. We should just see the deity. And that can be expanded to seeing the book. Prabhupada said, if you show someone the book and they see it, then that is ikshanam. That is part of the process of devotional service. Seeing the book, seeing the deities. Seeing the pictures in the book. And so we can help others by doing book distribution, letting them see the book. This is also very good. And shavanam, chanting, hearing, arhanam, doing deity worship. And if you're expert, you can also pray, and you can do deity worship, Prabhupada says. If you're more intelligent, you can say prayers all the time. So by these processes, then we free ourselves of this contamination of desiring to enjoy sense gratification. This is such a strong obstruction, we start thinking about enjoying. Now, a very interesting point is that Shukadeva Goswami has expanded one verse in Bhagavad Gita at the end of Gita where Krishna says, Manmana Bhagavad Bhakto Madhyajimam Namaskaru. That's 1865. Always think of me, become my devotee. So it's expanded in this verse, Yad Kirtanam, Yad Smaranam, Yad Ikshanam, Yad Vandanam, Yad Shavanam, Yad Arhanam. And so how this Gita is like a seed, and Bhagavatam is like a plant that grows from the seed, and so expands into fruits and flowers. So this is what's happening when we read Bhagavatam, is that we're getting an expansion of Bhagavad Gita. It's an expansion. And so here's an example of that. In the second canto, 4th chapter, the prayers of Shukadeva Goswami. And the second prayer also expands the verse in Gita, 1866, Sarvadharma Pritaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all varieties of religion, just surrender to me, and I'll protect you from all sinful reactions. So do not fear. So in verse 16, let us hear how Shukadeva expands this idea of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He says, let me offer respectful obeisances to the all-auspicious Lord Krishna. The highly intellectual, simply by surrendering to his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences, and without difficulty, progress towards spiritual advancement. Without difficulty. And so there's an upgrade here from Bhagavad Gita. In Gita, Krishna says, if you surrender, I'll protect you from all your past sinful reactions. But in this verse, Shukadeva says, if you surrender, you'll be relieved of all attachments to present and future existences also. So even our present and future is covered here. The past sins, okay, that's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Shukadeva expands it to include our present problems and our future problems. We haven't even done it yet. But it's already, if we surrender to Krishna, it's taken care of, our present and our future. But we shouldn't commit sins. Sometimes we make mistakes. So that will be taken care of if we're worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna. Now in that purport of Bhagavatam, Prabhupada gives a very beautiful translation, and he also explains how it's connected to Bhagavad Gita 1865 and 66. Prabhupada says, "My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, so for your own good, I'll disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself to me only, and I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me." So, instead of the heavy word of surrendering, like in Gita, surrender to me, a little heavy. We may not want to surrender. You see, somebody says, surrender to me. Why should I surrender to you? And so, no, Prabhupada says, give yourself to me. Krishna says, it's more like the mood of a lover and a beloved. Give yourself to me. So Prabhupada he gives very sweet translations of this verse. There's like maybe 100 different translations of 1866, different from how he said in Gita. Give up all your nonsense. Give up all your ideas for protection. Give up all your speculations. Give up all your attachments. Give up all your rascal ideas. Give up all your nonsense religions. So he translates it according to time, place, and circumstance. And so here it says, give yourself to me. Give yourself to me. So it's so wonderful to understand Bhagavatam and the purports of Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya, so why should we surrender? Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers, he explains why. Different reasons. First of all, the mind is trapping us. We are in the prison of our mind. We want to get out of prison of our mind, we have to surrender to Krishna. Then we can go beyond this conditioning. Yeah, astrology, it talks about your prison. What is your prison made of? What is your conditioning? Well, you can go beyond your conditioning by surrendering to Krishna. He says that. I'll protect you. Second reason why we should surrender, because we're being crushed by time. So how we're being crushed, all of us know how time is crushing us. I think you're being crushed by time right now because you have to finish something in a certain amount of time. And but other than that, just the bodies are being crushed by time. The disease is part of time. Every day and night goes by, and we never have enough time. And time is crushing us. And so Prahlad was feeling that I'm being crushed by time. So we have to surrender. And Lord Chaitanya, he explains the attitude. Please pick me up and place me as an atom of dust at your lotus feet. Just the same like chanting and crying like a child for its mother, saying, please accept me. Another reason why we should surrender is because this world is temporary. It's temporary. It's here today and gone tomorrow. The forms which we are so attached to are not the reality of existence. So there is maybe one form today. At one point of time, we were in the form of a baby. But now that form, if the baby was sitting here, it could not do anything. It could not say anything. And so now the form has changed. Now I've become an old lady. And so as an old lady, I'm able to speak something after a whole lifetime of experience, Krishna consciousness. So the forms change, but the reality is the same. The reality is that we are not a part of this world. We have another family, which is in the spiritual world. And that family is just waiting for us. So, temporary, therefore we should surrender to Krishna. And there's no happiness here. We try for happiness. It's described like a mirage in the desert. Or, what else? Oh yes, we're described that in this universe is compared to a frying pan. Maharaj Yudhishthira was asked, what is the news? And he said, the news is that this world is like a gigantic frying pot. And we are all being fried in this pot. And some of us are well done, and some of us are completely fried. And this is the news. And the sun is the fire, and the fuel for the fire is the days and nights. And the cook is time. Time is cooking us in the frying pan of this world. And we think we're happy. We can make the frying pan a nice place to live. But no, not. Cannot be happy in the prison or in the frying pan. We have to go to the reality of the spiritual world. So these are all kind of negative reasons why we should surrender. Another positive reason why we should surrender is because we will get mercy of Krishna if we surrender. Prahlad Maharaj, she said, I got more mercy than Lakshmi, than Brahma, than Shiva, because you put your hand on my head, but you didn't put your hand on their head. You didn't give them this mercy. I got special mercy. So if we surrender to Krishna, we can expect special mercy. Shingadev is here with Prahlad on his lap. We can be on the lap of Nrsingadev, and nothing can touch us if we surrender to Krishna. So if we follow this process of chanting, we will develop attachment to Krishna, and we'll go back to Godhead and fulfill the mission of human form of life. So we'll stop here. If there's any questions or comments. Oh, now we get the microphone. Well, there were not so many people here, so you probably could hear me.
It's better to hear. Anyways, it goes to the kitchen, but with that it's more clear sound.
Goes to the kitchen.
Yeah, it goes to the kitchen.
What happened to our Russian translation people?
They left because they waited that I will translate, but I just kept my computer, but they couldn't wait 1 minute and they left.
Okay. You couldn't
what
wait.
They can do.
Must be something very important to go to.
I have a question. You said
Okay.
about special mercy. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes. Krishna is more kind to the new devotees than even his wife, than even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. They're old devotees. But when he sees somebody new coming, he's more merciful. Just like a mother, when she sees a helpless child, then she feels like, oh, I must go to that child first. So we are helpless and hopeless. So if we try to surrender to Krishna, we will get more mercy. Because we're in such a hopeless position in Kali Yuga. And Krishna, the compassion, it flows down, it's described, it flows down to the lowest. That's why Jamina, he was attached to his youngest son, Narayani, he was the youngest. So the attachment flows to the lowest, the compassion flows to the lowest. So we are considered in all the ages of the yugas, we are the lowest. We are in Kali Yuga. And we are the new devotees, we are the lowest devotees, so therefore the mercy flows down to us if we are open to receive the mercy. So who gets the most mercy is that who is open to that mercy. And how to be open to the mercy? It's described that how does the prema come to us? It is coming to the heart. And what kind of heart must you have to receive the prema? That it's made of 4 things. That is humility, tolerance, offering respect to others, not expecting respect for yourself. 4 qualities of the heart that will be receptive to prema. Chararapi sunichina, torariva sishna, amanina manadena kirtaniya stari. So we have these 4 qualities, then we can be open to receiving prema. And this is explained by Lord Chaitanya, that if you have these qualities, then you can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. There will be no obstruction. You think this is the most important thing. And because you're humble, you realize, oh, I am hopeless in this world. So please accept me. Please pick me up. And therefore, we realize that when you're humble, when you realize the actual situation, then you will surrender to Krishna and engage in devotional service. And get more mercy. Mercy is flowing equally to everyone. While one who is more open, he will receive it. And one who is hopeless and helpless, he also will get more mercy. You think, oh, yeah, I'm good at this, I can do this myself, oh, yeah, I'm a very good chanter now, then you may not be open for receiving mercy. Any other questions? Comments?
Thank you very much, Mataji. You also explained about connection with Bhagavad Gita versus an expansion in Srimad Bhagavatam, and then you explained that how that we will. Shukadeva Goswami says that we will have this our eternal prerogative to eternal transcendental service.
Yeah, Prabhupada said that actually.
Prabhupada said, yes.
And you will have the eternal right of transcendental. That's translation by Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Eternal right of transcendental devotional service. That was Prabhupada's purport.
Yeah. So my question is, so this mercy, what we are speaking of, is it that we will get more service and we'll get some permanent service?
Yes, we will get more service. That is, the more you chant, the more service you get. Yes, chanting brings service. Looking at the deity brings service. If the deity glances at you, if Krishna glances at you, and then that creates desires for devotional service in your heart. So that is 13 chapter, of 10th canto, 13 verse 50. That's explained in the verse. By the glance, desires for service are created, and by the smile of the deity, that those desires are protected. So the smile is compared to the mode of goodness, and the glance is compared to the mode of passion. Passion is for creation, and goodness is for protection. So the smile will create new desires for devotional service, and the smile will protect with more goodness. Yeah, this is mercy. When you chant more, you're asking for service. You look at the deity, you're asking for service, and you'll get it, certainly. Any other questions? Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki?
Jai.